everybody, it's your girl, Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama, by way of little old Glassboro, New Jersey. You know it, right here on BlackSitRadio.com. And guess what, y'all? Just as always, I have some amazing guests with me today. So, like I always say, I ain't got time to sit and chit-chat and smile with you because we have important information to share today. So I'm going to be introducing you to the lovely Miss Marilyn Smith, and she is a certified occupational therapy associate, baby. Very important work, very important work. My sister is going through therapy right now, so I've really been appreciating the information that you've been sharing with me, Marilyn. It's been very helpful. Then I also have my beloved Giovanna Bernal. She is a principal lawyer at Prime Solutions Tax and Legal, and she has been our primary attorney for Black Expats in Panama Group ever since the beginning of time, and we just adore her, and she helps us confirm and make sure that we're getting the right information. I always appreciate you for that, Giovanna. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I want to tell you what we're going to be talking about today. What we're going to be talking about today is Medicare and Medicare Advantage, which is very important, especially for those of us living abroad. And Marilyn is going to touch on some information about that. And then you have where you're living abroad, and then, you know, we got to talk about it, y'all. Sometime you be dying abroad, okay? So we talking to Marilyn about, you know, the things that you can know and the benefits that you can take advantage of if you have Medicare and Medicare Advantage. And then also we'll be talking to Giovanna about some of the legal things that you should know about, you know, expiring abroad and just different ways to prepare yourself for if you happen to die abroad. So we're going to go ahead and hop into it. I'm going to start with first I want you both to introduce yourself, and then I'm going to pop back over to you, Marilyn, and let you talk to us about the Medicare and Medicare Advantage. So go ahead, Marilyn.
Hey, how are you? I am Marilyn J. Smith. I've relocated to Panama over the last 8 months. I'm sorry. It should have been 8 years. But met with Miss Charlotte and with Miss Giovanna. I met them when I came a year ago. But anyway, I am so happy.
He came on the Beep tour, guys.
Yes, I was on Beep number 23.
Wow.
And happy to be here. I worked as an occupational therapist for over 30 years. I'm retired. Did quite a lot of extensive work with the senior population. So that's my comfort zone. I've worked with seniors for a very long time in terms of therapy as well as insurance. And I worked as a caregiver and a companion. So I'm really attached to this group of people. 60 and over.
Yeah.
My last assignment or the last thing I did, I had an online business, which is now I'm pretty much in sabbatical, I guess I could say. But it was to educate and, show people how to navigate the complex system of Medicare, social services, Medicare Advantage, all the insurances in the United States. But I just wanted to go ahead and share because I know that a lot of people who are expats here have insurance from the US, including myself.
I want to go ahead and introduce Giovanna and let Giovanna introduce herself, and then we'll pop back to it.
Perfect. Hi there. Hello. My name is Giovanna Bernal. I'm a Panama attorney. We have a law firm and an accounting firm. And basically what we do is that we help and support expats that wants to get the residency permits and establish and get their foundations, or if they want to set up a business. and all the legal needs that are necessary when someone is relocating or establishing a business in Panama. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, I'm happy to have you here. And Marilyn, so go ahead and get into it. But I do want to say, like when you were talking about, how you assist people with like social services, I think that for a lot of us, this is very important because we don't think about it until that time comes. And we're dealing with this right now with my sister in California. And, she had a major medical crisis and how do you do? How do you get her the help that she needs? How do you, make sure that when she comes home that, her home is ready to receive her in this new body that she has and things like that. So talking to you about some of those things have been very fulfilling for me. And also, it's also made me much more keen and aware of the things that we need to know, not only for ourselves, but for our loved ones.
Yes, very, very much so. Again, as I said, I worked with the caregivers as well as the care recipients because both people need to know what's going on. However, I did not necessarily, I did the research for them, but because of the HIPAA laws, HIPAA laws, I couldn't really speak for them, but I was able to educate them and guide them. So, but in any case, what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about Medicare and Medicare Advantage. And to be sure, in order for you to have Medicare Advantage, you have to have Medicare. And for anyone who is turning 65 within the next few months or early next year, you have what is called the initial enrollment period. So if you're turning 65, now is the time to start looking into applying for Medicare. You do have 3 months before your birthday, 1 month, the birthday month, which is the 4th month, and 3 months later to apply. So here's the kicker. If you don't apply during that window, you will have to wait another year to apply. And they don't just let you off of the hook with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about, besides being 65, other peoples that are eligible for Medicare would be someone with ALS. It's called amyotrophic sclerosis, also Lou Gehrig's disease. You qualify for Medicare.
No matter what age you are?
No matter what age you are. Okay. If you are at end-stage renal disease, you also qualify, no matter what age you are. Mm-hmm. So those are the windows that you can qualify. Some people may have disabilities that they get a disability payment every month from the Social Security. If they have been disabled for 24 months or more, they do become qualified for Medicare. And Medicare automatically sends you a card, the red, white, and blue card. So those are the windows that you will get a card. Other than that, you have to apply. If you don't apply, and let me go back a little bit. There's Part A as well as there's Part B. When you get your card, you'll see Part A and Part B. For Part A, most of us who have worked in the US for over 10 years automatically get Part A. Now, there are some people who have never worked 10 years in the country, but they still want to get Social Security benefits.
Can you just briefly tell us, give us a description of Part A?
Okay, I'm going to get to that. I will.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just kind of briefing you on what Part A is. Yeah. So yeah, if you don't apply, there is a 10% penalty. If you don't apply at the time you turn 65, within that window, the 7-month window, there's a 10% penalty. And that's not something that goes away. It's added to whatever your premium will be.
So that 10%, so it would be whatever your premium is plus 10% every month.
Yes, every month. And what they do also, they calculate it 2 times. So if you, let's say you did 1 year, you didn't pay, you didn't sign up, they will calculate it for 2 years. That's 24 months. Yes, Medicare is not playing with that. So that's Medicare Part A. Now, Part B, you know, there is also a penalty, which is 10%. And if you don't sign up within 2 years, they calculate it at 20%, which is 10% every year. So they're telling you have to sign up no matter what. So now some people don't sign up because okay, I'm working, I turned 65, but I'm going to work until 67 or until 70, and they don't sign up. There is a penalty for Part B. You automatically get Part A, but you have to sign up for Part B. And there is a penalty for that. So now let me go back and the general, okay, I'm gonna just go over the general enroll. So the initial enrollment period is when you first turn 65. Now there's another period where it's called the general enrollment period, which is from January 1st to March 31st. And that's Medicare. I'm only talking about Medicare right now. So under that special period, if you missed signing up when you first became eligible, now you can sign up. It could be a year, it could be less. Medicare will decide how much you pay if you need to. So under the general enrollment period, that is from January 1st to March 31st. If you didn't sign up when you were eligible for Medicare, this is a time you can do it. They give you a window. There are also other options for people who, let's say they were covered by a group insurance. They were working, they were covered under insurance. They didn't buy Medicare at that time. They're 65 or older, they can purchase it then. Because Medicare gives you a window where you don't have to have Medicare if you're still covered by your employer. However, there is a window where you need to sign up for it. Okay. The other persons that qualify for Medicare at this time, March 1st to March 31st, are people who were covered under their family member policy. They were disabled, but they were covered under the policy. That policy is no longer serving them. They can register for Medicare. If you missed registering in the initial process, because you had an emergency in your state, let's say you had a storm, you couldn't do it then, they consider that and you can enroll in that period, but you have to prove that you missed it. Okay, now.
I just wonder why the rules in the United States towards seniors are so bad. I mean, it's like it's the same thing with like Social Security. If you've been a person working all your life and you're like, okay, you get to that place where you can take your Social Security, but you still want to work to stockpile your money, the penalty is severe. The penalty is severe. Yeah.
If you collect Social Security benefits, they give you a good amount. You can work up to $60-something thousand per year and not be penalized.
That's nothing, Marilyn. That means you still have to quit your job. So that means if you want to go and do a part-time job, but if you've really just been like a middle income earner and you say, okay, so I'm going to get less Social, and I don't mean to get off the subject, but it just hurts my heart that seniors are so severely penalized for missing dates and just trying to do better for themselves in old age. And it's another reason why I think that being an expatriate is a good idea because
Mhm.
the U.S. is very unfriendly towards its seniors a lot of times.
Yeah. And it's not just seniors. To me, it's the whole population. If you're in the middle, you get caught, paying so many penalties and charges. But anyway,
True. But right
so
now
let's.
we're talking about seniors, and really, honestly, it's bad no matter how you look at it. However, when you're still working and you're still working age, you can still make choices about things. As you
Right.
become older, those choices start to diminish. A lot of people don't want to hire you, even if you do want to work because you're old. Sometimes your body, and your health is giving out.
Yeah.
And so I really take it personal that, seniors are, because I have a friend whose parents didn't know her dad was still working. He didn't sign up for that Medicare part that you were talking about.
Mhm.
And she was like, oh my gosh, they were trying to fix it and there was no forgiveness. No forgiveness. It was like costing them. He probably was years behind. So when you say it's 10% for the first year, 20%, she said it was just absolutely undoable.
Yeah.
And it was for him and his wife. So I'm glad that you're here and I'm glad that we're talking about this. So go ahead, rant over.
Yes, I'm just saying, if you get to the age 65 and you're still working, don't say, I'm going to put it off. Because if you put it off, they're going to charge you. Let's say right now we're paying $174.70 for premiums. That's what everyone is being charged if your income is below $103,000. If it goes above 103 by $1, you're in another bracket. So most people who are under 100,000, their last employment amount for the year will pay $174.70 if it was below 100,000. If it was above, you're going to be paying more. So somebody who waits for 2 years or 3 years or whatever to sign up for Medicare, they're really hit hard. So just remember, sign up when you can. All right, so Part A, I'm going to talk about what it covers. Part A insurance, and anyone can get this. If you did 10 years of service in the US, you automatically get that. It covers your hospital insurance. So inpatient hospital, inpatient skilled nursing, which is like a nursing home, it's not a custodian. Long-term care is different from a nursing facility. And what that means is long-term care, you're really in a nursing home. They don't use the term nursing home a lot now. It's more of skilled nursing because you're expected to go in and get therapy, get treatments, and possibly go home. So that's the difference. So it's not going to cover you if you're going to get long-term care. Medicaid would be the next option for that. If you're in hospice care, Medicare Part A covers you. Home health care, that covers you. Inpatient care in a religious facility without healthcare services. So let's say I'm a Catholic and I want to go into a Catholic facility. I can do that. Medicare would pay. Part B is medically necessary service, like an ambulance, like outpatient care, like occupational therapy, physical therapy. Part B covers those things. Speech therapy, dialysis treatments. So anything that's more outpatient, it covers that. It covers what we call DME, durable medical equipment. And that could be a walker, a wheelchair, and things like that. Preventive services such as shots and vaccines and mammograms. Part B covers those. So outpatient services, Part B will cover. Now there are, in-betweens, some company may say we won't pay whatever, but in general, that's what they do.
So let me see if I understand this. So Part A, the cost right now is the basic cost is $174 a month.
No, Part A, there's no cost to it.
Okay,
if you work 10 years or more in the US, if you have a history of working 10 years, there is no cost for Part A.
Okay,
but
what was the
here's what they do.
for?
Here's what they do again. Here's the catch. It's very difficult to buy Part A and not buy Part B, you know?
Okay.
So there's a catch to this all, but you can. So can I continue?
So you said Part B is mainly outpatient and for
and that's the one you pay.
Durable medical. Oh, okay.
That's the one you pay for.
Got you.
$174.70 for every person that earns less than $103,000 a year.
Got you.
It could go up based on your income higher than that. They add it up. So as you go, if you're $500,000, even I don't know how Medicare handles it. If you're a millionaire, I don't know what they do in that terms of that, but I know they have a scale up to $500,000 and you pay more for it.
Do you have any questions, Giovanna?
Not really. I'm learning a lot. It's quite different
me too.
from Panama.
Yes.
Okay.
But you will come across so many people that are in this, situation.
Mm-hmm. Now the $74.70 that they take, that you pay every month for Part B, you can either, if you're still working and you're not collecting Social Security benefits, you'll have to pay that out of pocket. Medicare will bill you monthly, semi-monthly, whatever, annually. $174.70. If you apply at the right time, there's no penalty. That is the cost. Again, they will, however, if you are 65 and you're receiving your Social Security benefits, or even 62, some people apply for Social Security benefits early, you can still, they'll take it out of that payment. So before, let's say they're going to give me $1,000, they'll take out $174.70 and then deposit the rest in my account.
So then you have Medicare A and probably Medicare B, then you can also add on Medicare Advantage at that point.
Right.
Okay.
So, but let me be clear of this, because some people keep Medicare. I just wanted to, I know we're kind of running, but some people want Medicare only. They don't want to sign up for Medicare Part B. I believe Part C, which is the Medicare Advantage, and I'm going to get there. Medicare, some people want to keep that red, white, and blue card. The government also offers you the opportunity to buy a policy called Medigap. Have you heard the term Medigap?
Medigap?
Medigap, MEDIGAP.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to keep your red, white, and blue card, and Medigap pays the difference between what Medicare will pay and what the services charge. So let's say Medicare charges you, the service is $100. Medicare will pay $80, you will pay $20. That's how it works.
Okay.
Medicare portion is 80%, the other 20% is yours. The Medigap policy covers your portion. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like gap insurance.
The gap insurance. And you only get that if you have Medicare only. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that.
Okay.
Your Medigap, and I'm just going to touch on a little bit. Medigap covers your co-payments, deductible, co-insurance, all those costs.
How much is it a month?
It's based on the company, but all the services are the same. All the payments are the same, but each company could charge you more. It depends on the company you choose in your state.
Okay, so independent contractors sell this insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, those policies are sold by independent companies.
Wow.
And they can charge, varying rates.
So you can shop that rate.
You can shop that rate. And if you go to Medicare.gov, all of that information is there, and they will direct you to other, websites that you can check.
Right.
So Medigap is one policy that goes with Medicare. Moving on.
It's good info.
Okay.
I mean, of course, we always have limited time, but I mean, I'm really enjoying getting this information, and I know that our listeners are too. So, I appreciate you, Marilyn.
So the other thing I want to talk about Medigap is that you can only get it when you first sign up in that initial period. Remember, when you sign up, when you turn 65 and you have that 7-month window, you can only get it at that time, the initial sign up. You can't have Medicare and then go back 10 years later and say, I want Medigap.
Wow.
They won't pick you up. Yeah,
You
so it's
have
a
to
lot
do
of
it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, or do you have a certain amount of time from when you sign up, or you got to check the box then?
You have a 6-month window.
Okay.
After you get Medicare, after you get the red, white, and blue card, you have 6 months to sign up.
Okay.
For Medigap. Okay. All right. We're up to Medicare Advantage. Yay. So now you signed up for your Medicare. You have your red, white, and blue card. You're paying your premiums, through your Social Security benefits. And you don't want to stick with Medicare and Medigap because it's costing you too much. And again, also Medicare services, if you use your Medicare card, they can be higher than Medicare Advantage. The doctor can charge you more.
Wow.
Yes, it's a lot of...
They try to encourage you to buy that extra part.
Yeah. So Medicare Part C, which is Medicare Advantage. When you hear Medicare Part C, remember you have Medicare Part A, B, now it's C, Medicare Advantage. Now these policies they started about, 1996 doing Medicare Advantage. And to me, I have Medicare Advantage. I've had it since I retired. And for me, it's been beneficial. It's a one-time, you sign up, the enrollment window is coming up. And that's why we're important. On it right
That's
now.
why we're talking now. Yeah. Because it's is it in October or?
October 14th to December 7th, I'm sorry. December 7th. Yeah.
That's the window to sign up for the Advantage.
Yeah.
And it's like you can do that at any point as long as you have Medicare A and B. So it seems like Medicare builds, like you have to have, it's steps. You can't go to a C without having a B.
Right. You can't go without having that card because Medicare, what Medicare does, these are other companies that contract with Medicare. So Medicare, they give the service, Medicare pays them a portion, Medicare somewhat oversees them. So yes, Medicare is trying to offset the idea of billing people. They don't want to do billing. So they sell these policies, they allow these companies to sell policies. These companies are Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Aetna, Humana, so many. They have so many. And as the years go by, the benefits become better because they're competing now for the service for you to buy with them. So Medicare Part C, which is Medicare Advantage, starts in October 14th, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. October 14th to December 7th.
Okay, and let me just make sure I understand. So with the Medicare Advantage, you can apply for that during any part of the life of your Medicare Part A and Part B, as long as you do it within this window?
Within this window. You can't just get a... Okay, so the only way you can do it outside of that is that something changed. Like you moved, you're in a new state. Have a child or whatever. There are some options there, but in general, they want you.
You're not supposed to be having children. And be
Hey,
on
you never know.
Medicare A and B. I'm
You
sorry.
never know. I
That
could be
should not be allowed.
a birthing grandma. But
Okay,
anyway,
so go ahead, Part C.
yeah. So
Okay.
Part C is your Medicare Advantage. With that, you don't need to pay a premium. Now, some of the policies do offer you the option to pay a premium. It could be $50. It could be $25. It's your choice. When you go looking at your Medicare Advantage plans, it's up to you to decide what's going to work for you. If they charge you a premium, chances are your deductible will be less. But in general, you can get policies that you pay nothing for. And those are the ones that I choose. Okay. So in that Medicare Advantage, you also get some extra benefits. So Medicare Advantage, because as I told you, these companies are trying to compete with each other, and they're trying to compete for the sale. So in many of them, they are giving you vision, dental, exercise programs, and the plans that I've had and I've chosen, they also give me an over-counter benefit. Some are higher, some are less. I get $75 every month to shop over the counter. I shop with Walmart because I can get some items and they'll ship it to me. Unfortunately, the only thing is I have to pay the shipping cost.
That's the free part?
Yeah. Huh?
That's the free plan? Or that's the plan that you don't pay up front?
Right. The Medicare Advantage. So right now you're only paying $174 every month for Medicare Part B. And with that, you get Part C. You can choose Part C. It's not mandatory, it's your choice, but it's a good choice. I think it's the best choice.
I can't imagine why it wouldn't be.
It is the best choice, in my opinion. Again, zero premium policy, you get all these benefits, and it covers your medicine. Part D. I'm going to go to Part D now. You have a question?
Okay, so Part C is the Advantage.
Yes.
Okay, so I thought the Medicare Part C or the Advantage was the one that would be most utilized by people internationally.
I think they are using it. I don't know. I mean, it's a choice. Everybody chooses what they want, but I think a lot of people are using Medicare Advantage. Well, I would suggest that's what they use. Yes.
So what I thought it was is that if you're international, how does that policy affect you?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you. Okay. You cannot use it. Okay, with your Medicare Advantage, it is not. Can I go to Part D first, and then I'll talk about what you can use? Let me talk about Advantage. Okay. So Advantage covers Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D. Part D is your medication. However, you cannot use your Medicare Advantage here in another country. Neither can you use Medicare in another country for regular medical visits.
Okay. So what can you use it for? I was just under the impression that you could use it for something under some circumstances.
In my case, when I want to get medical checkups, I go back to the US, to my city, because all the policies are assigned to your state and your city. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the doctors in that area are assigned to that policy that you have. Again, you can choose any company, which is Medicare, Aetna, all of that. So when I want to use my medical, I go home.
Okay. That wasn't what I understood. I understood, or I thought I understood, so I'm glad that we're having this conversation, that the Medicare Advantage gives you some access to care while you're abroad.
The only access you would have is something that's called medically necessary emergency.
Okay.
let's say you fell and you broke your ankle and you went to the emergency room, they will not necessarily take that card. They will need money up front, but you can get a detailed bill so that you can request a refund.
So if you have Medicare Advantage and you have a medical emergency abroad, then you will be billed up front for the treatment, but then you could submit that detailed itemized bill to your Medicare Advantage part of your plan.
Exactly.
So if you do not have Medicare Advantage, Medicare will not entertain an international bill?
No. There are some occasions, if let's say you're in Canada and you're near to the border of Canada and the US, and unfortunately you can't get to a hospital that is closer in the US, and they see you in Canada, they'll consider paying that. Same for Mexico. Okay, and that's Medicare. Medicare Advantage is maybe a little different. But if you're here, let's say I'm here and I fell down, broke my arm, I'd have to pay up front, get a bill, and get reimbursed because it's considered an emergency. Now, if you had what is called an existing condition, say you have asthma, and you had an asthma flare up and you had to go to the emergency room, you're not covered.
That's pre-existing. That's not like an unexpected emergency thing. Okay. So we gotta move on to,
Part B.
If
I just
life
need to
expires.
Part D.
Well,
the drugs.
Okay.
Part D is another portion of it that if you have Medicare Part A, original Medicare Part A and B, you may need Part D for your medicines. Let's say you have TRICARE. TRICARE covers you for medicines. You're not penalized, but if you don't have what is called an exempted medical plan that offers, it comes through, it's called a credible comparable drug plan, which was TRICARE, Veterans Administration, Workers Union, those things offer those. If you have that, under those circumstances, you don't have to apply for Part D right away.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's Medicare, and then Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D that we just learned about.
And I know I probably should have broken it down. Okay. So for Part B, there's also a Part D, there's also a penalty. And it's a 10% penalty, a 1% penalty, I'm sorry. And they added on to the premium if you don't sign up when you're supposed to, 1%. And
when are you supposed to sign up for D?
Right.
When are you supposed to sign up?
You sign up for D when you first get your red, white, and blue if you're not working.
Do you have the 6 months?
You have right.
Okay. 6 months.
If you are going directly to an Advantage plan, you don't have to sign up for D. It's covered under the Advantage plan.
And the Advantage plan is C. So if you take Part A, Part B, and Part C, you'll automatically get Part D.
Exactly.
Woo, child. And they want old people it is. So they want old people to know all that. So, we got to move on to, that's living. Living.
I know.
Living in the U.S., we really, go ahead.
And I'm just going to say that they just capped the amount of deductible you can pay with Part D. The government did a contract with the pharmaceutical companies. So now you get your drugs some drugs are cheaper. So now they have a cap on how much you would pay. So it's $2,000 for Part D. That's it. Okay.
Well,
Now, just want to go over, I don't know if I can do, you want me to go over premiums and all that? What I mean,
no,
premiums?
I want to go ahead and go on to Giovanna's part. And
Okay.
because the premiums are people can find that online, right? Just
Okay.
because we're limited with some time, and there was a lot of good information, but by the
Okay.
time we do premiums, we might be go over. So I just
Okay.
want to definitely get to the part about, people. A lot of people that are watching or listening to this are living abroad or thinking about living abroad, and because when we're moving abroad, we need to understand the insurances that we have in the U.S. We need to understand what they can and cannot do when you're abroad, because not everybody understands that Medicare does not transfer. So what I
Yeah.
hope that everybody picked up from this is that, these different parts, the times that you have to register or, to add on or enroll into these things, which is very important because there are a lot of things that you need to do while you're stateside, like
Right.
Social Security and things like that. Things that you need to know before you make a move abroad.
Yes.
And what I
Yeah.
hope that everybody is taking away from this is that your Medicare does not work in
No.
international spaces.
No.
The only time it's going to maybe serve you is if you have Advantage and you have a medical emergency that does not fall under a pre-existing condition. I think that's
So,
very clear, and that's a nutshell.
yeah.
So thank you, Marilyn, for that. And I'm sure we'll have a ton of questions,
Do
and
you,
we can also add whatever additional information you want in the context
okay.
of this publication. Okay, so Giovanna, now let's talk about all this about the people. A lot of the people that you're dealing with, especially in the Black expats community, are of this age. The most popular expat, I think, Black expat in Panama is the older woman. Don't you think that you see more older women, Giovanna, than anybody else as far as the Black expat community?
We see more women, usually single or single, retired, or divorced, or widows, and that they are coming more and more to Panama. That's true.
So
Mhm.
when they come to Panama, we're at that senior age. You could go at any time, but the more senior you get, your time is more likely. Your time is more likely sooner than later. So some people don't like to think about it or talk about it. And I wanted to have you on to talk about this because, I have a big group here. I have a large community that I don't like to say that I lead a community because I don't feel that to be exactly true. But I just feel like I've started a community that has, become very, very large. And most people, if you say Black expats in Panama, they know my name. And we've had a couple of instances where people have expired here. And to the point where when somebody expires, somebody reaches out to me and say, so and so has passed away. We didn't have any information about their family. Do you know how we can get in touch with them? And they want me to help facilitate a connection. And I've started a form that people can fill out, that you put this information there, and that way if something happens to you and somebody does reach out to me, bam, I can go there. I can have the name of your landlord, or pertinent information about people who are around you. I know how to get in touch with your first of kin in the United States, and that gets the ball rolling. So what I want you to talk to us about today is just some of the things that go into preparing for that, and how things actually work when a death actually occurs internationally.
Okay, great, Charlotte. Okay, I'll give you some tips for expats and things that are very important to do, in my opinion, and to prepare, especially for those that likes to plan and not to give some headache or problems to their heirs or children or family members, right? And also in case of emergency, who to contact and who's going to make decisions, those things are quite important. Also, if you come to Panama to retire with just one, how do you call that? With just one luggage, and that's it. No many things. You don't plan to invest. You don't plan to have a lot of money saved here or anything. Well, that's fine. That's really good because you don't have, probably you won't have to plan a lot on your assets, but probably in the US you will. But still, there are things that needs to be addressed. For example, if you have a bank account, I highly recommend that you can tell the banker to add beneficiaries. And this is very important because if you don't have real estate in Panama or big amounts of money or investments, you have this bank account with thousands of dollars, and then if you have here, once you pass away, then this bank account goes to probate, and that takes a lot of time and fees for a lawyer. Probably what you have saved there will cost you the lawyer's fees. We don't know, right? But
Just the probate in the Panama?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's very simple as going to the bank, ask your bank officer to, I want to add my beneficiaries. They will give you a form. You can ask a copy of that form that you can give to your family members or the person that you want to put as beneficiaries. So when they know if you pass away, they can come to Panama, go to the bank and show that a piece of paper. That makes things easier. Of course, and also if you can tell your family members, if you are single in Panama, how much money you have or things like that, right? That will also be good, right? To tell them, okay, I have $10,000 in this bank at Banco General, or I don't know. And it's important to let someone know about it. That's very important. Then if you have a car and things like that, everything that is in your name goes to probate. So it's important to, maybe if you have other things in Panama, to write a will, go in front of a notary. There are two ways. One is going directly to a notary. If you cannot speak Spanish, you will need to have two translators into Spanish, because this is by law. Nothing we can do about, but we need to have two. And just sign a universal type of will where you can just appoint your beneficiaries in case you want someone to be your beneficiary specifically.
So you said a universal will?
Mm-hmm.
So is a universal will, I never heard that expression.
Mm-hmm.
Is a universal will something that you can use anywhere in the world? Or is it just what Panama would call a foreigner getting a will here?
We call it universal because it covers all the assets present and in the future. And then you appoint the percentages on your heirs. Basically, it's simple. Another option is that you just designate what are your assets, and I want this for my son, I want this to my daughter, specifically. But if you just write you sign a universal will, we call it universal, but it's just a will. It's easier and simple and also cheaper.
So how does that work if you have a U.S. will and you have a universal will here in Panama? So if you have a will in Panama in the U.S., does one supersede the other, or is it there are separate entities because you have a separate life here and there? So the Panama will would be for anything in Panama, and the U.S. will would be for anything in U.S.?
Exactly. Because it can be difficult. It is possible that there are ways to execute a will from the U.S. in Panama that includes assets overseas, but it's way better to just have a will for Panama, and your state in the U.S. is in the U.S. So you have to go probate in the U.S. I mean the heirs, and then what's in Panama is in Panama.
Excellent.
Yes, in Panama we have trust laws, but it's more for I would say if you have a lot of state, because that will be managed by a trustee, and in Panama the trustees will manage the fees directly. So instead, what I would recommend, also because it will cost less, is to, if you have property, put the property on a foundation. If you don't want your children or your heirs to go to probate, because with the foundation, there are beneficiaries. So during a lifetime, the beneficiaries are the owners, for example, a couple or an owner. And then when that main beneficiary pass away, then the benefits goes to others, secondary beneficiaries. Anybody can be a beneficiary. So it's quite flexible and useful. Mm-hmm. Yes. There is another document that is important, which is the power of attorney. And the power of attorney is good for in your absence, or if you cannot make a decision because you are temporarily sick or incapacitated, you can give power of attorney to a third party and also include a substitute. So in case you are very sick and you cannot make a decision, someone can do that for you. Or in case you are not in the country for some reason and you need to do something here, something legal, or sign a document or manage your bank account or anything like that, someone else can do that as well.
So would that person that you assign the power to, would they have to be residing in Panama as well? Or could
No,
that be someone from the U.S. that you would assign that to?
it can be someone from the US, yes, a
Yeah.
family member
Yeah.
or someone, friend, sister, brother, anyone that, that is
You would
available.
assign a power that you would feel comfortable assigning a power of attorney to in the U.S. You could assign in the Panama.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
Would they have to come in to sign that document?
That's what I'm thinking.
No, it's not necessary.
Wow. But
Yes.
that's a power of attorney is only while the person is still living,
Mm-hmm.
right? The power of attorney is only valid while the person is still living, even if they are incapacitated in some way, right?
So yes, the power of attorney, it's important as well. And just it's important to know that when someone passes away and someone dies, the power of attorney is no longer valid. So it's important that we have to recognize whether there's probate to do, or there is someone a will that needs to be executed, because in the will there might be a person that is in charge of taking care of the belongings that are in an apartment, for example, or arranging some funeral or cremation, and even claim a body as well. There's a process to claim a body, and all those things, right? Of course, if there is no power of attorney, it doesn't matter. The family members will take care. Right? There's no problem.
But I think what I'm hearing, and I'm just so loving this conversation, because I didn't even think about having a will here. I did not think about having a will here, and I'm not exactly sure why I haven't thought about that, but I think it's something that we as Black expats definitely need to think about. And also to understand that even when it comes to our U.S. wills, like it depends sometimes where we die. Your will, if you have a residence, say for example, if you have a residence in one state and you in the United States, and you have a will that was issued in that state, that will may not transfer to another state. So you got to keep your will updated. You can't just assume that you have a will and that will is going to, speak your wishes and be honored no matter where you are in the world. And so that might be something that I need to dig a little bit more into. I know that for me, Virginia and Florida accept each other's wills. So my last will and testament is right now was created in Virginia, which it needs to be updated, by the way, but it was created in Virginia, and I have a residence in Florida, and my understanding is that they accept each other's wills. But when you die abroad, And also insurance when you die abroad. There are some policies, I'm told, I haven't, and I've been meaning to check mine. If you actually have a residence in another country, when you die, some in life insurance policies actually indicate that if you're not living in the United States when you die, it could be null and void. So there might be policies that you need to check for life insurance to make sure that there are no clauses like that. Because anything insurance companies can do not to pay, oh, they do. And all that stuff that we sign at the bottom of, so thank you, Giovanna. That's good stuff. This is good stuff, baby.
Yes, this is very good to know. Yes, very, very interesting. It's good to that you can ask the person that is helping you, whether it's an attorney or a notary back when you gave the will, to see if everything is correct and what's in it, if you need to update it. And in Panama, I'm pretty sure that even if you move to other country and you're living in another country and you left property or bank accounts here, there is a process, even if you didn't leave a will, to do probate, which is a probate process without having a will.
Probate gets paid. So you're automatically going to lose some of that money or assets if it has to go into probate, correct? Because the probate court has to be paid.
Right. The advantage of Panama is that in Panama, we don't have succession tax. I understand it's 40% if the property is on your name in the US or something like that, I've heard.
Oh, no, exactly. That's a lot. I know it can be ugly. We need wills.
Yes, it's good to plan. It's good to plan in advance, and then try to organize your state when you're moving abroad. And if you live in assets in the US, you need to check what will happen if you live in here, and if the asset is still on your own name, right? What you can do. I understand some people put properties on LLCs but that's more what I've seen on LATAM clients that invest in the US. I'm not sure how the US person will be, but I know the taxes are high.
Wow.
So it's good to plan. And for the Panamanian perspective, yes, I think that my advice would be, if you have a bank account, because everybody opens a bank account when you come to Panama. That's very, very, very much likely. It's just to put the beneficiaries. So that will be very, very good for the future, to have that and have a copy of that. That shouldn't be difficult, but a lot of people don't know that. And sometimes we know, but we just don't think about this type of things, right? Okay, I'll do it later.
Exactly. Then somebody find you dead on the floor.
May I ask the question, Charlotte?
Sure.
So if you have a bank account and other assets, do you need both a power of attorney and a will, or just one will, the will for the assets?
No, if you have a bank account, my advice would be, even if you have a will or if you plan to do one in the future, put beneficiaries, because then your beneficiaries can have access to the bank accounts automatically.
Okay.
If you don't do that, there's a probate process.
And I think if you're living, which we all are, right? And you go and do a living will and trust, I think that you should do a power of attorney to go along with it. Because the power of attorney is going to, and I don't know if the power of attorney, at least in the United States, the power of attorney is going to cover you in case something happens. If something happens to you, and, just because I'm your daughter or just because I'm your wife doesn't mean that your creditors have to talk to me. It doesn't mean that the bank has to give me access to your information. You have to show that you have my permission when I was able in the right mind to give it to you to do those things. So I think a power of attorney is just as important as a living will and trust. And if your life is coming to an end, there may be a period in between your living and dying where you are incapable of making decisions for yourself. So you may die, and unfortunately, we've had some Black expats who have been found dead. But then again, you may suffer illness that incapacitates you to make decisions, and then there's that gray area. You're not ready for the will because you're not dead. The will is only good when you're dead. The power of attorney is only good when you're living.
Mhm.
So I think it's probably best to do both at the same time.
I don't know about Panama, but in the US, if you are in that place where you can't make decisions, it is called a living will.
Living will. Living will and testament.
And it doesn't, being a power of attorney doesn't give you all the access to making all the decisions. That's in America. I don't know about here in Panama.
Yes, in Panama, it's the same. We have a type of living will where you can appoint the persons that are that will make decisions on your behalf.
Will and testament kind of gets into, like, isn't the living will and testament? Wait a minute. Thinking, because there's something that happens when you are like in a coma. When the doctors say she's not going to live. If she lives, she's never going to be able to live a quality of life. And then you have that that one person that can decide or whatever to pull the plug, pretty much. They call it pull the plug. Is that the living will and testament? That's the living will and testament. So the living will and testament, your power of attorney would still apply. I think.
It could be, in America, it could be a little tricky. Because if you don't have those forms in place for the living will, the power of attorney still doesn't have the access to decide. They have access to your assets, or they can, make certain decisions. But when it comes to the living will, the revocable, they have.
Those are two different things. Two different things, because you don't have to be in a life and death situation to need somebody to handle your affairs. And basically, that's what a power of attorney does. It gives somebody else the right to handle your affairs. When it comes to deciding whether you should live or die, that's a whole nother conversation. Right?
That's why there are different forms you have to fill out.
Exactly. And I actually have all of them.
Okay, good.
I said, I told Alfredo, I said, I don't know. Because when we did ours, I asked the lawyer, I said, do most wives get their husbands to say whether or not to pull the plug? I said, because I don't know. My husband was like, I don't think she's going to make it. Yank. I don't know. She don't look good to me. Pull the plug. So I said, maybe my daughter ought to be on there. She loves me.
That's why a lot of issues come up when that situation happens.
Yes.
Because now the family is feuding. Somebody's saying yes, somebody's saying no.
Oh, yes.
And they don't have anything in writing to say this person can make that decision. So
Terry Chavot, remember that Terry Chavot case in the United States where I think her parents wanted her to live? She was in a coma for years. Her husband was ready to move on with his life, quite frankly, seemed like to me.
Yeah.
And you have to have somebody assigned to do that, to make that decision, or else other people that are equally connected to you have to agree. So your wife or your children and your parents, they need to agree. So that's why you need to have a person. So, okay, let's move on. This is good stuff, though. I'm telling you, I'm loving this. Go ahead, Giovanna.
Okay, and then another thing that I would advise as well is having a list of emergency information. Have a friend in Panama, someone that that can have your information as well, besides your families in the US, that can have your main information, your of blood or your phone number. I also keep ambulance numbers. If you don't have a private ambulance service, but have the 911 number available. And even if you know that you don't have Medicare because you decided not to pay it or not to have any insurance, in Panama, we have public hospitals, and also we have basic health insurance options, for special things. Not the full coverage, but at least will cover you for some emergencies and some assistance as well. Sure, what else can I say? But
anything else? I was looking here. So we went over disposition of personal belongings, access to the property. People should have access. Somebody needs to have access to your place. And I think that for, I know at least for Black expats in Panama, we're aware of that. And I think that when you are here, that you need to have that one person. Like I have my best friend in the whole wide world. If I don't speak to her in a day, the cops is coming to her house. I'm sorry. The cops is coming to her house because we're going to be speaking at least once a day, or if God forbid we can't speak, which is highly unusual, then and I send you a message and you don't send one back, I'm sending the cops. So, definitely people having that kind of thing. Is that all you think we need to know? We got bank accounts, funeral home and burials.
Well, yes. With regards to funeral homes and burials in Panama, we have quite a number of places that will take care of that, and also repatriate a body if it's necessary. Somebody asked me a few days ago if we had a type of funeral insurance, something that is that someone paid in the U.S. Was covered in their benefits, but I don't think we have, but maybe we do. But in any case, we do have this type of funeral homes that will take care of all the process, whether it's a type of cremation or a funeral. We have also, you can pay in advance if you want to also secure that a space, if you want to be buried in Panama, a space in some of the cemeteries in Panama. And also we have a church. If you are religious, for example, you also can save or rent or buy, I would say buy a space also for cremation, to have your ashes there as well, or yes, as like that. What else can I mention? If you have the belongings in your apartment, the persons that are interested in you will definitely get access from the landlord. And in this type of situations, they should be quite open to that, because if there's no power of attorney or will or anything, this is something that had to be discussed then with the landlord, right? So the landlord will have to get access to the property. So my suggestion would be to have something in written, at least some instructions to give that someone else, right? Especially if you live alone, because if you have someone else with you, a partner or someone else, you shouldn't get that problem. But just especially if you're living alone, it's good to have something.
I think that, I appreciate, you sharing that information with us. And I think that it ought to be a part of your planning. It ought to be a part of your planning for your life abroad. I think that when we talk about, as expats, when we talk about, if something happens to us abroad, we're always focusing on the proximity of your family to you, not the legalities of how your family is going to get to you and assist you. You know what I'm saying? So like being able to make these plans before you come to Panama or whatever your international relocation of choice is. It's not just your family getting here, because I've seen families come here and run up against some problems. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to have documentation. You need to have certain things that are put in order to be able to assist your people. So I thank both of you for coming on the show. I think that it is important to think about us living, and it is also important to think about, the inevitable, us dying, right? And I think that we covered both of them. I would just like for you two to, give any last words that you would like to, and also tell people how they can get in touch with you if they have any more questions, if you're open to that. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, Marilyn.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to share this information. And for anyone who, want to get some more insight on how to navigate or understand their Medicare Part B, all of that, they can reach out to me for a quick, 30, 45 minutes, discussion, and I could see if I can help in any way. And my telephone number is also my WhatsApp. Would you give that out, Charlotte? I don't know.
You can.
It's on the paper.
You can. Okay. You can't give it out. You can give it out faster than I can.
Okay.
You don't know
All
your
right.
number, girl.
So my email address.
Give your email address.
I know.
I'll put your number in the contents. I know sometimes it takes a while to remember new stuff. I know.
It's my email address is Smith, SMITH, Marilyn, J35 @gmail.com. Again, that's my name, Smith Marilyn J35 @gmail.com. My WhatsApp is 507-6950-0655. 6950-0655 is my WhatsApp connection.
That's how you show your age, Marilyn, when you repeat stuff. There's no need to repeat stuff nowadays. People can just rewind.
But you know what? It's not only age, it's part of my training to repeat to, the seniors that I worked with. So
I get it. I can tell people's age by the way that the messages that they leave. Because they'll say again. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm like, okay, I could have just listened to that again. But I appreciate you.
And you can add it in your, I don't know how you're going to edit, but you can add that. I sent it to you.
Yes, we will make sure that people have it, and when you say that, it'll come across. We will definitely do that. But for some people, they will hear this on the radio, so we'll make sure that they have that. So thank you so much, my love. I guess it is kind of good that you repeated it because you can't rewind the radio. They would have to wait for the YouTube version or the podcast to come out. So thank you so much, my love. I just think that the information that you gave is so important. And really, honestly, for the first time, I understand Medicare. I think I have a better grasp on Medicare than I have, and I'm getting to that age. So I appreciate your time and spending with us. And I know that a majority of the people who are listening to this program appreciate it too. So thank you so much. All right, Miss Giovanna.
Okay, great. My last advice would be to please don't forget think about what will be the next steps after listening to us and our tips and things you could do depending on your situation. Every case is different, so don't worry so much about doing everything. You don't really have to do everything, all the things that we just discussed. It's just depend on your case. Maybe if you have a bank account, that's the only thing you need to do is just go to the bank and update your information. But we will be happy to help you if you have some doubts about your case and give you some advice, whether you need a will or not, or a foundation or a power of attorney and things like that. So if you can contact us. Our email is contact@primesls.com. And my mobile number is plus 507-6322-6180.
Excellent.
She didn't repeat it like
Good
I
job.
did.
Good job. Good job. Well, listen, I appreciate you both for being on the show, and I bid you a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Be blessed. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And there you have it. Listen here. Look at here. That is the kind of programs that I want to bring to you. Please take note of the deadlines for you to apply for Medicare Advantage. Also, make sure that you have taken notes on the information that Giovanna has given you about preparing for something to happen while you're abroad. I mean, do yourself and do your family a favor by being prepared for these things that are inevitably going to happen. It is one of the reasons why I am not interested in moving far away from the United States. We always say, well, I don't want to be that far away from my, children. I want to be able to get back and forth and whatever and what have you. And at the end of the day, we are the seniors. We're the seniors, and more than likely, our children will need to get to us. And so make sure that you make this as easy on them as possible. I like being in Panama because Panama is not that far from the United States. Whereas Africa is a wonderful idea in theory. For me, it's not an option. It's too far from my family. It's just too far from the United States. I'm just going to be real. And it's these kind of things that concern me. Like what happens if I expire in an international space, okay? That kind of stuff. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that. Make sure that you meet those deadlines. Thank you very much for listening. And as always, thank you to my main man, Daryl Spears, Elite Conversations Podcast Media, for making me great out here in these streets, okay? Thank you to Riley and Devin at blacksitradio.com for allowing us this platform to put our voices in the world forever. All my love to our children, and especially to Ruby and to Zola. This is your Nana, and I just want you to know that I am here. I am doing the daggone thing, and one of these days, when I'm long gone, I want you to look at this and say, that's my Nana. Okay, and so remember that we're making legacy, guys. We are making legacy. And sometimes I think that we have a tendency to forget the amazing things that we're doing out here in these streets as internationals, as Black expats in whatever country you're in. So we just want to be smart. We want to be educated. We want to be happy, and we want to be at peace. So this is your girl, Charlotte Van Horn, Black expats in Panama, by way of little old Glassboro, New Jersey, right here on blacksitradio.com. Thanks for tuning in, and just thank you guys always for the support and love that you give to us. Find us and follow us everywhere at Black Expats in Panama. Bye.